Thank you for joining me, Diana Master, on NMH at 1 as we highlight the news making waves across Namibia and beyond, ranging from current affairs and economic news as well as sports news. We'll be right back with our midday news update right after this.
We are all seeking connection to each other, to the world, to the spaces we exist in.
Poor sportsmanship right now from the lads.
You might be physically ready, your body is ready, but mentally.
He has another chance, and it is a goal from Okahandja.
Hij zegt, ja, is er aan neertrekken. Hij bal lijkt mij grond gevat. Ja, hij heeft grond gevat. En dan zie je...
But just enough next.
Running that mountain up. Okay, so we will be doing this for the mountain climber. More advanced, slightly advanced.
So is jou trolley reg? Want
I love that. I love that. So then
kickstart our countdown at number 5 with this one.
Op Netwerk TV se Klets Kompas gesels ons nuus van 'n Maandag tot Donderdag. Ons kyk ook na die weer en meer. Stories wat jou raak en stories wat saak maak.
They've made a mistake in denying me bail, and they've made several other mistakes in many other cases.
The channels that teach us something new or reflect our expression. So it goes beyond switching to the right station. It's about choosing the experience that can adorn the present, dressing it with our tastes as we
Expand our preferences, because what we are actually connecting to is boundless, limitless human energy. And this is the spirit of NTV.
In today's midday news update, the Minister of Education, Arts and Culture has declared Friday the 23rd of February 2024 as a school holiday in terms of Section 9, Article 8 of the Basic Education Act 2020, Act Number 3 of 2020. This is part of the national mourning arrangements with regard to the passing of the late President, His Excellency Dr. Geingob, and the preparation for activities leading to the National Memorial Service on Saturday the 24th of February 2024 and the state funeral on Sunday the 25th of February 2024. Visual News highlights local stories from across Namibia right after this. Stay with NMH at 1. Starting us off with our visual news, the Kavango East Regional Governor Bonifacius Wakudumo held a media briefing yesterday to provide details on the regional memorial service to be held for late President Hage Geingob. Nikanuna Ngolo has more.
As the nation gears towards the burial of our beloved late President, Kavango East Region, through the Governor's Office, has implored to organize a regional memorial service as a symbol of final send-off of our beloved late President. The regional memorial service details for our beloved former president are as follows. Candlelight Vigil, 20 February 2024 at Kavango East Regional Council Auditorium at 1700 hours. Candlelight Vigil, 21 February 2024 at all 6 constituencies in the Kavango East region. Regional Memorial Service, 22 February 2024 at the Rundu Sports Stadium, starting from 10 o'clock. People will start gathering, and the memorial service will commence at 12 o'clock sharp.
Now, Windhoek for the first time plays host to the International Association of Drilling Contractors, which hosts its Drilling Africa conference and exhibition at the Hilton Hotel today for 2 days, with today being the last. With 114 delegates, 27 speakers, 3 exhibitors and 5 sponsors, the IADC has brought the cream of the international drilling community to Namibia to discuss how the industry can rise to meet challenges unique to Africa while still embracing fresh opportunities from onshore to ultra-deep water. Yesterday morning, Magishino Petroleum Commissioner, Ministry of Mines and Energy, was the opening speaker at the event, which is strictly accessible only to registered attendees.
Hello, my name is Snorre Lutnes. I work for Enhanced Drilling, and we are here in Windhoek, Namibia for the IADC conference, and we are presenting our technology, trying to raise awareness to the operators of what we can do and how we can contribute. And of course the reason for being in Namibia is twofold. One, the obvious reason, this year the IADC Africa is based here in Windhoek, and obviously, of course, that Namibia is turning into a really big hotspot when it comes to the oil and gas industry. This is where we expect to see a lot of future activity and a lot of action happening forward. So this is the place to be for us.
Now, after the break, the Namibian Sun leads us into the newspaper review segment.
Hi Sonia.
Hi Tufeni. What are you reading?
I'm reading about the Child Care and Protection Act. In this pamphlet I got from school.
What's that?
It is Namibia's main law for the children and the issues affecting them. The act classifies here that a child is anyone under the age of 18 years. Check out some of the rights meant to protect you. For more information, contact the Children's Advocate.
For more information, contact the Children's Advocate Namibia in the Office of the Ombudsman on 061 20 73 111. Send us an SMS on 20401. SMS costs 40 cents. You can also send us a message via our Facebook page. Remember, the services of the Children's Advocate are free of charge.
Thank you for staying with NMH at 1. We now take a look at what the lead stories are in Namibia's daily newspapers. Starting us off on the Namibian Sun front page, it reports that activist Michael Amushelelo's constitutional challenge to parts of the Criminal Procedure Act and the Banking Institutions Act was heard yesterday by a full bench of judges in the Windhoek High Court. In this matter, Amushelelo and his co-accused in a pending fraud case, Gregory Kluter, are challenging sections of 2 laws that were relied upon in their investigation into their alleged fraud and Ponzi scheme to obtain evidence that is now being used against them in a criminal case. On page 3, mining executive Zebra Kasete hailed late President Geingob for his role in ensuring Rössing uranium would continue operating as a going concern in 2008 and 2009 following challenges the company was going through. According to him, Rössing was going through trying times and Geingob's involvement led to its long-term survival despite threats to the business. Kasete said the late statesman's interventions helped ensure the company's board and then Mines Minister Erki Ngimtina, then Rössing Uranium Board Chairperson the late Beam Hoveka, and then Independent Director Frank Fredericks were able to reach an amicable solution regarding the future of the mine. On the front page of the Republican, the Central Procurement Board of Namibia has laid out in detail the reasons it disqualified a bid by Adaptive Building Land Construction for the construction of the Nauta Keetmanshoop water pipeline replacement and ancillary works. The company submitted the bid together with the China State Construction Engineering Corporation in a joint venture agreement. It follows a failed High Court bid on the part of JV Company to overturn the CPBN's awarding of the bid to a joint venture company comprising JDN Civil Engineering and New Era Investment. Outlining its reasons for the rejection, the CPBN said the bidder was deemed non-responsive and was disqualified from the bidding process due to the following reasons. The bidder provided a reference letter for the project and similar works completed. However, the reference letter does not indicate the project value or give a brief description of the scope of work done as required in instruction to bidders, the CPBN said in a notice. On page 3, President Nangolo Mbumba and Professor Peter Kashavivi, Speaker of the National Assembly, have described their last moments with late statesman Geingob as difficult. The duo recalled the events leading up to Geingob's death in an interview with national broadcaster NBC. Both Mbumba and Kashavivi were allowed to visit Geingob in the intensive care unit of the Lady Pohamba Private Hospital, where he succumbed to cancer following a short illness. On its front page, the Algemene Zeitung leads with an interesting story, according to which Namibia is said to be the second African country and then only one of a few in the world to conduct trials for a 4-day working week in a groundbreaking move to redefine the traditional working week. The pilot program, which is scheduled to start in April 2024, will run for 6 months and is supported by a large number of industries and leading companies in Namibia. The 4-day week global initiative aims to explore innovative ways to improve the so-called work-life balance, increase employee productivity, increase revenue, and ultimately create a more sustainable and inclusive work environment. On the paper's page 2 leads with an article that tells more about the decision by the Supreme Court, which ruled out the appointment of the 2 South African curators, Johan Francois Engelbrecht and Konrad Lawrence Stander, whom the Namibian State Attorney General Martha Imalwa had wished to appoint as trustees to oversee the seized assets of the accused in the fish rot case. Instead, the court has approved the appointment of Harald Hecht and Pierre Notze as the new trustees for the seized assets. This appointment follows the termination of the appointment of Ian McLaren and David Bruni as curators after they approached the court last year to be relieved of their duties. We'll be right back with more newspaper review after the break.
Neopaints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neopaints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neopaints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
Let's continue right along with our newspaper review segment. According to the Namibian, a high-level meeting of police officials took place yesterday to address the unauthorized disclosure of the post-mortem report related to one of the 5 individuals killed by the police in Okahandja last year. A doctor who declined to be named told the Namibian this week that an interpretation of the autopsy report shows that the police appear to have intentionally killed the victim. On page 3, residents of Noorduva say they are in dire need of water, which has run out following a power outage that began on Sunday. A resident of the settlement, Willem Olifant, told the Namibian yesterday that Noorduva's water pump uses electricity, and since the power outage, tanks have not been refilled to supply water to the residents. The New Era's lead story reports that the Education Ministry has confirmed paying 528,000 Namibian dollars for the procurement of 240 mattresses for the Imarwa Itete Secondary School in the Kavango West region. This means each mattress cost taxpayers 2,200 Namibian dollars each, intended to supply school furniture and laboratory equipment, which has caused a stir in the public domain. On page 3, at least 27 African leaders, of which 18 are sitting heads of state, have confirmed attendance at the state funeral of the late former President Geingob. The funeral is slated for Sunday, the 25th of February 2024 at the Heroes Acre, just outside Windhoek, while the memorial service will be held on Saturday, the 24th of February at the Independence Stadium. According to MarketWatch, Namibia's total public sector wage bill in 2024-2025 is anticipated to be 1% higher than that of the previous fiscal year, as promised increases become effective in April. Finance Minister Ipumbushimi will table the 2024-2025 budget in Parliament next Wednesday. According to the mid-year budget review, which Shimi tabled last October, the total wage bill is estimated to rise from 32.82 billion Namibian dollars in 2023-2024 to 33.19 billion Namibian dollars in 2024-2025. Now, after the break, Namibia faces grey listing threat. We give you the full details of the story right now. Getting into our economic news, as briefly highlighted earlier, Namibia faces an imminent threat of being grey-listed for having failed to fully comply with international standards set by the Eastern and Southern African Anti-Money Laundering Group and the Financial Action Task Force to strengthen laws to combat money laundering and terrorism financing. According to Minister of Finance and Public Enterprises Ipumbushini, preliminary indications reveal that Namibia passed the technical compliance test and made progress in 5 out of the 11 immediate outcomes on the effectiveness test. In addition, he said 59 out of 72 action items were successfully addressed, with only 13 remaining. As a result of the few remaining action items, Namibia may be included on the list of jurisdictions under increased monitoring. This will, however, only be confirmed once the Financial Action Task Force and International Cooperation Review Group joint group meeting will take place in the next few days is concluded. We'll now take a look at the economic indicators just before we return with our African news. The Namibian dollar trades at 23.80 against the British pound, 20.39 to the euro, 18.90 against the US dollar, and 2 Namibian dollars and 63 cents buys you 1 Chinese yuan. First Rand Namibia Limited stocks took a dip of 0.50%, while Itsego Holdings stocks took an upturn of 2.50%, with Namibia Breweries Limited stocks also going up by 0.03%, while the rest maintained. Local index closed on an upturn of 0.12%, while overall index closed on a downturn of 0.05%. Looking at commodities, gold and copper are up by 0.22%, while platinum and Brent crude oil are down by 0.44% and 0.83% respectively.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
We now expand beyond Namibia's borders to give you the latest news from the African continent here on NMH at 1. 4 police officers have been arrested in Kenya after detectives raided a house where 37 Ethiopians were being held about 16 kilometers from the capital, Nairobi. The officers are suspected of aiding in human smuggling and trafficking operation. The Ethiopians told Kenyan authorities that they were en route to South Africa in search of better lives, privately owned, the Star newspaper reported. A search is underway for the owner of the house and other members of the smuggling ring. Kenya is a common transit route for Ethiopian migrants attempting to illegally enter South Africa, according to the UN Migration Agency, IOM. The agency says that the migrants, who are mostly men from Ethiopia's Oromia and SNNP regions, enter Kenya through the Moyale border point before proceeding to Tanzania and eventually South Africa. Stick around, we'll be right back with international news. The United States is set to announce new sanctions against Russia over the death of opposition leader Alexei Navalny and the 2-year war in Ukraine. Speaking to reporters on Tuesday, US President Joe Biden did not give details but said he would provide more information about the package of measures on Friday ahead of the 2nd anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby said that the major sanctions package would hold Russia accountable for what happened to Navalny and respond to the vicious and brutal war that has now raged on for 2 years. The new sanctions will target a range of items, including Russia's defense and industrial bases, along with the sources of revenue for the economy, White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said. According to a senior U.S. official, a sanctions package was already being planned to mark the 2nd anniversary of the war, which Washington will now reconsider and supplement in response to the death of Putin's most prominent opponent. Russian authorities have said the cause of 47-year-old Navalny's sudden death on February 16 at a penal colony north of the Arctic Circle is still unknown and have refused to release his body for the next 2 weeks as a preliminary inquest continues, according to the opposition leaders team. Stick around now. After the break, we'll be bringing you local and international sports news.
Hello and welcome to today's Sports Rep Show.
I am your host, Jesse Jackson Kauraifa. replay Namibia, who had won the toss for the first time on this tour.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with tennis news, both on the WTA for women's and
We start off with the local sports news and straight after give you the international sports news. Local amateur boxers are not happy ahead of the Olympic task. The team's coach Titus Joseph has been told to shoulder some personal responsibility in fulfilling the boxers' needs, for example, housing some of the boxers and providing transport and meals. Namibia's national men's golf team will be contesting the inaugural Africa Amateur Golf Championship this week. The experienced Namibian karate champion Cecil Pronk recently traveled to Cyprus to compete in the K1 Karate Series A Championship. We'll be right back with international sports. Starting us off with our international sports news, Son Heung-min apologized on Wednesday for his role in a bust-up with South Korea teammate Lee Kang-in at the Asian Cup and urged fans to forgive the Paris Saint-Germain player. Morocco Swallows have confirmed they have parted ways with coach Steve Compella following a tumultuous 2023-2024 campaign to date and amid much upheaval off the pitch. The crisis at the Melbourne Rebels has cast a shadow over the third season of Super Rugby Pacific, but there is still plenty of excitement at the possibility of a refreshing change at the top Australasian provincial rugby. If you're just joining us, this is NMH at 1 and we'll get into the highlights from today's broadcast right after this. We'll now take a look at the highlights from earlier on, just in case you need a quick recap. In African news, 4 police officers have been arrested in Kenya after detectives raided a house where 37 Ethiopians were being held about 16 kilometers from the capital, Nairobi. In international news, the United States is set to announce new sanctions against Russia over the death of opposition leader Alexei Navalny and the 2-year war in Ukraine. And in local sports, Namibia's national men's golf team will be contesting the inaugural Africa Amateur Golf Championship this week. Those have been your highlights. Remember to tune in every weekday at 1 p.m. to spend your lunch hour with NMH at 1, catching up on the latest news in Namibia and beyond.